Was excluded by a group of girls the other day, and I realized that for a lot of parents this can be your worst nightmare, and a lot of us aren't taught how to handle this in real time. So I wanted to share the steps that I took to help my child feel safe and regulated, and I feel like this might help any parents who might be dealing with the same thing. For context, we were at an event and my daughter connected with this little girl and they were holding hands, laughing, playing, and honestly everything was great for a while. And I am telling you this detail because honestly what happened next confuses most children. Another girl joined their friend group and she basically convinced the other girls not to play with my child, and suddenly they started saying, "We don't want to play with you." They started running away from my daughter, and my daughter was just standing there. She was genuinely confused because she was like, "But we were just playing, like we were just good. What happened?" When situations like this happen, a lot of children, especially at this age, tend to internalize it. So when they're being excluded or when things like this are happening, they tend to say, "Oh my gosh, what did I do wrong?" They start to blame themselves. So I walked up to the friend group and I just specifically addressed my daughter. My job isn't to force any children to play with my daughter, but I told her we're going to gather our things and we're going to walk away now. And I could see the tears starting to form in her eyes. So I let her know, "You did nothing wrong, but we are not going to stay in places when we're not welcomed." So I helped her to put her shoes on, got her little sweater on, and we stepped away from the group. And at this point, she started crying. And then she started crying and she told me, "But Mom, they were holding my hand." And that was the part that she couldn't get over because she was like, "They were extremely nice to me in the beginning. I don't understand what changed." That's when it clicked for me because I realized she wasn't trying to chase them. She was trying to gain an understanding as to why their behavior changed. I feel like physical contact with my daughter usually helps her to regulate. So I put my hand on her chest, and I told her, "You did nothing wrong." See her face crumple, which is always the hardest thing to witness. And I told her, sometimes people change the way they behave. And when that happens, we walk away. You're such a great kid. I absolutely love playing with you. You are so silly. You make everyone laugh. And then she starts to smile and I can tell that she's starting to get a little bit of joy back. And I told her, I was like, they are missing out on a really great kid because you are a really great kid. But we can never force anybody to play with us. At any moment in time, someone isn't being kind to us, we need to stop and walk away. Because at this point, we're not really safe. Usually my go-to in any situation like this is to remind her who she is. So I had her name 2 friends that she absolutely loves. And I asked her, well, why do you love those friends? How do they behave with you? What does playing look like when you play with them? So she was able to identify the different dynamics and how that friend group that she plays with at school or at home is very different than what she was experiencing. And I also wanted to show her evidence that she's actually a great friend and that kids love her. Also let her know that those kids that she's playing with is not her only option. I told her to look around and see how many children were there because there was a ton of children at the event. I am sure that there are more children that would absolutely love to play with you. Let's try to see if we can find a new friend. Honestly, within minutes, she found someone new to play with and they were so ecstatic to play with her. Like I said, my job isn't to force other children to play with my daughter. My job isn't to shame other children. My job is to make sure my child is safe, happy, and taken care of. I want my girls to realize in life that what one person won't do, another person will. And it's okay to be patient until that person comes around and to walk away when you no longer feel good or safe. And lastly, I would say to follow through. Later on that night during bedtime, I checked in with her and I asked her, how are you feeling since that whole thing happened? And she was like, I feel really good. I met a new friend. And she told me all about that experience and I was so happy for her. Anyway, I hope that this helps someone. I am making blue